I'm gonna try this again just because I want to shoot. Dang it. Let's see if I can get this. Hopefully you can see me because the last stream I just did from my laptop did not work because I don't have good enough service. Laptop and that didn't work. I hope this one doesn't because I'm determined. I started to read some Facebook comments and I wanted to get through it because I want to get your opinion. So I am reading from a Facebook friend, a YouTube friend that I've known for quite a while. And our country is so divided right now. It's very frustrating. But this was her original post. I'm going to give you some background is that she's from Venezuela. She's living in Canada right now with her husband, who is a retired veteran. And they plan on moving to the United States. She is all for Trump. She doesn't understand why people are so against him. She doesn't believe he's racist. She believes he only wants to help us. But anyway, her original post is so many people are really just surface level thinkers. They see everything in black and white, the good guy versus the bad guy, and forget that there is so much. They forget there's so much more to it than that. So much more they're not seeing. Sigh. It's all about knee-jerk reactions and emotions and no critical thinking. And in the comments, she said, I'm including myself in this, but I've been working on getting better. And I responded by saying, I hope so. Some of us that love you and care for you worry. Sincerely. We have a duty to fight for our freedoms. We have a duty to win. We must love one another. We must support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. It's just my spiel. You may know that saying. She responded back to me. I appreciate that, and I'm sure she does. I worry about you too, though. People can lose more than their chains. They can lose their lives. Because you're choosing to keep murderers, rapists, and sex traffickers in the country by wanting to stop ICE. I just don't understand the logic here. Crime has gone way down since the raids started. The method doesn't matter as much as the results, especially when someone you love becomes a victim. So, like I said, she lives in Canada. The freedom I want to fight for is the freedom for people to walk the streets while feeling safe. Sounds reasonable. I said, immigrants, I'm not going to give her name. Immigrants in the United States commit crimes at lower rates than the U.S. born population, notwithstanding the assertion by critics that immigration is linked to higher rates of criminal activity. The reality of reduced criminality, which holds across immigration groups, including unauthorized immigrants, has been demonstrated through research as well as findings. For the one state that reports it in the United States, Texas, that reports criminal arrests and conviction by immigration status. A growing volume of research demonstrates that not only do immigrants commit fewer crimes, but they also do not raise crime rates in the U.S. communities where they settle. In fact, some studies indicate that immigration could lower criminal activity, especially violent crime, in places with inclusive policies and social environments where immigrant populations are well established. National studies have examined incarceration rates and prosecution of immigrants in the country's overwhelmingly finding that those who were born in the United States, overwhelmingly finding that immigrants of all legal statuses commit crimes at lower rates than those who are born in the United States. These are just facts, and these are proportional. Personally, I live in Aurora, Colorado, the city adjacent to Denver, where I was born and spend most of my time. It is not now and never was taken over by Venezuelan gangs. I understand. I understand that there's crime. There's crime in the city. I do understand that. This is a manufactured lie, just like the murderers, rapists, and sex trafficker immigrants that you speak of. People who are seeking to come to America come to get away from murderers, rapists, and sex traffickers, to escape war, violence, dictatorship, or natural disasters. The predominant reasons immigrants say they came to the U.S. are for better work and educational opportunities, a better future for their children, and more rights and freedoms. And then I asked, when did you come to America? Her answer was, I'm married to a U.S. veteran, and we're in the process of getting everything together to move to the U.S. this year. So I'm very concerned with the safety of the country I'm moving to. First, how are we comparing these numbers? Because, of course, the crimes committed by U.S.-born citizens will be higher than immigrants when the number of immigrants population. I said it was higher for immigrants, she says. And that's what we care about, she says. Besides, we're not even talking about the immigrants who simply crossed illegally, which is a crime already, she says. This was between 14 and 20 million people committing a crime. 14 and 20 million people committing a crime. But I'm trying to be nice and not talk about those who are simply seeking asylum. I want to talk about the important ones. ICE's most urgent, current main target. The worst criminals. The ones who you do need to get rid of ASAP. There should be zero reason to stop this from happening unless you care about their lives, more than U.S. citizens' lives. Okay. You may be right about immigration lowering criminal activity in places where they're well established. But this only can be true for legal immigration. And I'm sure there's no need to mention that no one is against legal immigration, in parentheses, unless it's mass. So she's against mass legal immigration. Unvetted and left unchecked. But as previously mentioned, the sad truth is that illegal immigration is a crime. It's a civil crime. No matter how you look at it. So criminal activity technically cannot be low if these people are part of these communities. What doesn't sit right with me is the logic of, well, if they don't commit as much crime as US born citizens, then we shouldn't worry about it. Is that what you're saying? We should do nothing about it? She asks. How is that an intellectually honest argument against deportation? If there is a group of people whose crimes can very easily be entirely avoided by simply taking them out of our country, then there is no argument against doing just that. We should definitely take care of US born population crime. No one's saying we shouldn't. But we can't just ignore one easy to fix problem simply because there is a bigger problem. Now, all that information I've consumed comes from sources like Tom Homan, Tom Homan himself, which I didn't know who was Tom Homan. He's Trump's new border czar, whom you can't convince. I looked it up. He's a ex-police officer, political commentator, and Trump's new border czar. Now, all of the information I've consumed comes from sources like Tom Homan himself, whom you can't convince me is just an actor that cries on command over the deaths of American citizens, deaths that he saw with his own eyes. Well, he was a cop, I guess. The victims themselves and actual videos of the raids where you see the multiple offense criminals thanking Biden. I don't like Biden either, believe me. This immigration policy was horrid. Thanking Biden for letting them in, criminals who were released back into the public after each offense. All this information I'm consuming tells me the complete opposite of the information you're consuming, which means one of us is believing lies. But who? One of us is believing lies. But who? You say that the Venezuelan gangs from my own country don't take over anything. They said they didn't take over the city. But your own governor was caught lying about the TDA gang not operating at the scale reported by citizens in the Trump campaign, because the latter performed raids on the apartment complexes to clean them out, which he never admitted to doing. Okay. Later performed raids on the apartment complexes to clean them out, which he never admitted to doing. And it wouldn't even be known if not for citizen journalists and local whistleblowers, which she doesn't like whistleblowers. Or does she? I don't know. There was another comment in another post about whistleblowers. And then it says, she says, since raids wouldn't have been required if they were the level of problem that was being reported. I'm confused. But anyway, there's also the FBI being called out for cooking the books on migrant crimes, as the local field offices were caught not reporting vast swatches of certain crimes that felt fell under certain criteria. One can not distrust the FBI enough. Sure, I agree. The more I learn from these whistleblowers coming forward, the better I understand why my husband holds the views that he does. These independent reports can still be lies about lies. Sure. But here's where critical thinking comes into play. Who's most likely to be lying? The ones simply wanting crime to stop? Are they lying? She says. Because they just simply want crime to stop. Which has nothing to do with racism, she says. Or the ones wanting to use these illegal immigrants for fraudulent purpose. Is she talking about the left? The left that wants to use these immigrants for fraudulent purposes? Is that what she's saying? I would like your opinion. These independent reports can still be lies about lies, I said. Okay. There were only two main reasons to allow these people into the country without even bothering to vet them first, and then ban the requirement of voter ID. There were only two main reasons to allow these people into the country without even bothering to vet them first, and then ban the requirement of voter ID for both local and federal elections. Undocumented immigrants are not voting. Okay. All of these Democrat-run sanctuary cities would get double the vote count for their districts, guaranteeing through fraudulent means that the left never loses control again. All of the states that have these sanctuary cities would also receive massive boosts to their electoral vote counts, she says, as the electoral votes are based on the total amount of individuals residing in the state, both citizen and otherwise. I don't know. Legal or not. I need your comments. She says, all of the states that have these sanctuary cities would also receive massive boosts to their electoral vote counts, as the electoral votes are based on the total amount of individuals residing in the state, both citizen and otherwise, legal or not. Further cementing that leftist stranglehold on the system of government. Who has a stranglehold on the system of government right now? Who is trying to eliminate our system of government right? And now to the real crap part. The mass amnesty that the left is always pushing for, that would grant legal status to all those criminal migrants, stripping the system of legal codes and justice system from legal codes and justice system from deporting them altogether. Again, it is a sad truth. But these are all criminals, as they are committing a crime by simply residing within the U.S. borders and crossing over illegally. I thought they were the most violent criminals, the ones that we need to get rid of. Just because they're violent criminals and we need to get rid of them. And they, hey, she says, any decent American would agree with providing asylum to those who need it, but the process is slowed down due to the plethora of each asylum seeker needs to be vetted to make sure we aren't bringing in gang members, cartel enforcers. This is a simple truth, Jesus. That may not be an easy truth to swallow, but we live in a world where shitty, vile people enjoy doing shitty, vile things to each other. Trump, Elon, shitty, vile things they're doing to us. Okay. She goes on. Each applicant also needs to be vetted and checked to make sure they qualify for the asylum status instead of simply stamping each application, because, like it or not, the United States does not have a bottomless money bag or infinite resources and infrastructure in place. Well, those migrants have built that infrastructure. The level of immigration inflow is kept at rates that are sustainable so that the country can continue to prosper. Upend that system, a system that was cooked up and implemented by those far smarter than us, and were there once lay a nation of prosperity and goodwill, there will just be another overpopulated third world country with not enough to go around. So that is where I'm at with this. It makes more sense to me than the argument you propose, but I understand why you believe what you believe as well. So I would really, really like to hear your thoughts. Fab Daddy. Fab Daddy? Are you Jimmy? Who's Fab Daddy? So anyway, I was determined to read this post because I want to hear your thoughts. Please comment below. Love you, and I will see you again sooner rather than later. Hopefully with a better phone service. Good night.